Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Franklin here, and I kind of wanted to make a video in regards to some things I've been seeing along the webs of the Pokemon community. And I've made a couple of videos about this, and I've been thinking more and more about it. Why do people think certain things are good or bad in Pokemon? And today's topic is going to be genning. I already know that I made quite a few videos about genning and the process of actually genning Pokemon and questioning, why do people gen in the first place. I made videos about that before. But here I want to talk about the benefits of it. And there's not a lot of benefits, but it seems to me that these benefits get magnified so drastically to the point that it changes the way you play Pokemon in general. But when we talk about that, we have to first look back at the history and why genning isn't a new topic. Because if you guys remember back then, if you are an old Pokemon head, there was something called Action Replay. There was something called Game Shark. And then there were also websites that allow you to download codes like Super Cheats, Code Breakers. This was a thing in the past. When you had the Nintendo DS, Action Replay. When you had the Game Boy Advance, it was the Game Shark. These things were the first actual iterations or successful iterations of physical external software that enables you to pump in cheats, items, Pokemon, whatever you wanted into your games. Now, unlike the current iteration of PKHex, which requires you to have a computer and simply a USB cable to connect, or at this point in time using a micro SD card reader, with these guys in the beginnings of time, you actually had to buy the external pieces to these, the Game Shark and the Action Replay, and then you had to basically boot it into your Nintendo DS, and then you boot your game within the cartridge of the Action Replay and the Game Shark. That's a little bit of history and why people are saying, well, genning is becoming very rampant. Well, unfortunately, my friend, it's been a thing since the beginning of time, so it isn't something new. Now, sure, the use of genning has drastically went up because PKHex and third-party software like PKHex has become very rampant. Everyone can have access to this now, and it's essentially free if you know how to do the working and all that stuff. All you really need is a PC, and all you really need is knowledge of how to create Pokemon and items from scratch. So there you have it. So now I'm going to go over the 3 reasons why genning is potentially good. Now I know I'm trying to still think about a way to title this video without people giving me blowback, but don't worry, for those of you guys who are negative Nancy's or those who look at the glass cup half empty, I will make a video of why genning is bad. Don't worry, it's gonna be a part two. It might be coming up, later on this weekend. So the first reason why people want to gen, and obviously is the biggest reason why, one of the biggest reasons why we see it in a lot in competitive gameplay, is time. You're gonna save yourself lots and lots and lots of time from whether breeding, trading, IV training. I'm sorry, you cannot train IVs. EV training, perfect IVs, depending on what you guys want, through breeding and all that stuff, all of that gets erased. You can legitimately get a 6v6 team, fully competitive, natures, moves, items, PP moves maxed all the way up, shiny if you want or not, in about less than 5 minutes. Whereas if you're trying to make a team from scratch, whether it's from breeding or trading Pokemon from Pokemon Home, you know, grinding to use certain items, it takes quite a while. It might take you several days, it might take you several hours, depending who you are, it might take several weeks, obviously, depending on the Pokemon in question. Time. You're basically saving time. One of the biggest reasons why. The next reason, and the other reason why it kind of ties in with the time, is the resources I just mentioned. Do you know how much Poké Dollars you will need to use ability capsules or items that you will need for competitive play, such as leftovers or even heavy duty boots? Do you know how much raids are, or how many raids you will need to compete in Scarlet and Violet in this generation in order to you to get EXP candy? Because sometimes you will get rare candies that spawn, but other times you're going to get XL and XL XP candy. in order for you to get your Pokemon to level 100 or level 50, depending on what kind of format you play online. Resources takes quite a bit of Poké Dollars, takes quite a bit of a grind with the Terra Raid battles, but again, it kind of ties into the essence of saving time. Time is a really big factor, is the reason why people think genning is good. I would never say genning is okay, because that's definitely a ironic statement to make considering what genning truly is at the core of it all. And then last but not least is having access to Pokemon you just cannot get anymore. Yes, you can gen in Scarlet and Violet any mystery gift Pokemon you want as long as the Pokemon is able to exist within the game itself. You can basically gen a Pokemon event from Generation 3 all the way to the current Generation 9. In the existence of all Pokemon, you can get yourself a mystery gift. You just simply use the mystery gift database within PKHex, and you're able to use a slot within your Pokemon boxes, and you just put them in and you call it a day. Now, obviously, that's not exactly how it works because, one, you need to have access from the Pokemon home information, meaning that if the Pokemon has to come from Pokemon home, it's already illegitimate. It's not going to work very well. Yes, you can still use the Pokemon in online play. You can trade the Pokemon online, but if you're going to compete in a tournament, an official competitive format tournament, it's going to get flagged and you will risk yourself getting DQ'd from the actual competitive site. So you have to be very careful with that. But in that sense, you can get any Pokemon mystery gift you missed out on. You can get any Pokemon that you missed out from previous generations. A lot of people argue that Enamorus and Urshifu are the two Pokemon that have very high usage in today's competitive format. And the biggest issue with those two is that they're kind of locked behind a quote unquote paywall. And what I mean by that is that in order for you to have those Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, you need to buy the respective game it came from. Urshifu came from Sword and Shield, and Enamorus came from Pokemon Legends Arceus. And you can only get them through those specific games, especially Urshifu, because Urshifu was a DLC from the Isle of Armor of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So not only you have to pay whatever price Pokemon games are nowadays, you have to get Pokemon Home, which is also comes at a premium unless you do the basic free plan to transfer those Pokemon from those games into Pokemon Home and then transfer it into Scarlet and Violet. And then, of course, because their IVs are going to get meshed up and their move pools are going to get meshed up, it goes back to the essence of you're going to have to use more resources in order to get them to wherever you want them to be. And guess what? If you don't have the resources, you have to spend time in order to compile all the resources and all the Pokédolls, what you need in order to get the Pokemon that you don't have access to, make them battle ready, competitive. So those are the three big reasons why people think genning is good. I personally think genning is a positive thing when it comes to these three reasons and three reasons only. If you're using genning for stuff like VGC, that might be for another video because I personally am against people genning Pokemon in VGC or any competitive formats where money is involved or rankings or world rankings or qualifications get involved because it does get into murky waters. And I do think another positive aspect of genning is that it enables you to understand how Pokemon systems work, how the Pokemon game works, how source coding works. Because this will tell you a lot about, well, how do I know other Pokemon I'm getting from other people are legitimate? PikaHex will tell you that. Genning sites will tell you that. So basically, acknowledging that genning does exist and genning is a good thing will enable someone to say, okay, maybe I want to learn more about genning and why I personally think it's a beneficial thing to the Pokemon community. When I got back into Pokemon in 2016, I didn't know what genning was. I knew what action replay was because at the time we still had cartridges for up to Generation 7. Now with Generation 8, Nintendo Switch changed everything. There's no longer action replay. There's no longer power saves. If you guys remember power saves for Generation 7 specifically. Now you have to really use PK Hex and micro SD card readers in order to get access to such information as that. Therefore, it gets difficult for a lot of the, you know, the mild, the neutral community part of Pokemon to see what genning is really about. At the end of the day, you don't have to gen. You don't have to make Pokemon from scratch. You can do whatever you want with Pokemon as long as you truly believe it's the right thing to do. Now, whether it's right or wrong, of course, that's up to the court of public opinion. But this is my video and a quick summary as to why I think genning is beneficial. Now, like I mentioned, I am going to make a part 2 to this, and obviously the video is going to be the devil's advocate, why genning is bad. But before I drop that video, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. Please like and subscribe so we can get that second video going. It's your boy Franklin, signing out. Peace.